Assalamualaikum and greetings to everyone. In this video, me, Sakinah Humaira, and my group members, Aimi Nasuha, Siti Umairah and Sheh Adriana, with the guidance of our teacher, Puan Afika bin Abdul Rashid, will present to you about our biology project-based learning about fermentation using donuts. First, I will show you the table of contents. Moving on to the introduction, yeast is a tiny plant-like microorganism that exists all around Earth, in soil, on plants, and even in the air. It has existed for so long, it is referred to as the oldest plant cultivated by man. Yeast works by serving as one of the leavening agents in the process of fermentation, which is essential in the making of bread. The purpose of any leavener is to produce the gas that makes bread rise. Yeast does this by feeding on the sugars in flour and expelling carbon dioxide in the process. As the yeast feeds on the sugar, it produces carbon dioxide. With no place to go but up, this gas slowly fills the balloon. A very similar process happens when we are preparing donuts. Carbon dioxide from yeast fills thousands of balloon-like bubbles in the dough. At the end of this project, we can see the difference in terms of size of donut after being left for an hour before turning them into delicious donuts.
The objectives of this project are to understand the meaning of fermentation, how fermentation occurs with the use of yeast, and the pros and cons of using yeast in baking. Next, the variables of this experiment. The manipulated variable is the percentage of dough. The responding variable is the size of dough after being left for an hour, and the constant variable is the temperature. The hypothesis that we made is the higher the percentage of yeast, the bigger the size of dough after being left for an hour.
The materials used in this project are 230 ml of cold water, 2 yellow eggs, 5 grams of salt, 50 grams of sugar, 20 grams of milk powder, 1.5 spoons of baking powder, 60 grams of margarine, 300 grams of bread powder, 200 grams of wet flour, and 11 grams of yeast.
Well, the apparatus used are a bowl, a container, a baking pan, a tray, measuring cup, and a spoon.
Hi, so today I want to show you how I make donuts. Step 1. Place the cold water and yellow eggs into the container of your automatic bread machine and add the salt, caster sugar, milk powder, half spoon of baking powder, margarine, high protein flour, and yeast in that order. Then, select the dough setting and start the machine. Step 2. When the dough cycle is finished, remove the dough to a flat work surface and knead a few times to collapse all the bubbles. Step 3. Cut with a flour donut cutter. Then it will be like this. Look what has yeast done to my donuts. My donuts look so chubby. Step 4. Heat oil in a pan to 175 degrees Celsius. Step 5. Gently place a few donuts at a time into the hot oil and fry them until turn golden brown. Step 6. Remove from the oil and drain on paper towels. Let cool a bit, then top with sugar, and serve the donut on a plate. Now let's eat. Yum yum.
Next, we will present our discussions. Our first discussion is, what is fermentation? Fermentation is the incomplete breakdown of glucose in limited or no oxygen conditions. Fermentation is different from aerobic respiration in its metabolic pathway after the glycolysis stage. After glycolysis, the pyruvate produced will undergo either alcohol fermentation or lactic acid fermentation. Our second discussion is, what is alcohol fermentation? Alcohol fermentation is the incomplete breakdown of glucose to ethanol, carbon dioxide and energy. Alcohol fermentation, also called ethanol fermentation, is processed by yeast or some other microorganisms like bacteria. They use this process to make ATP. Yeast typically functions in the presence of oxygen or aerobic condition, but can also perform in their function in absence of oxygen or under anaerobic condition. In this project, yeast performs alcohol fermentation on the dough and makes it fluffy in texture. The yeast uses sugar, which acts as glucose and oxygen in dough to produce more yeast cells and carbon dioxide gas. The released carbon dioxide gas makes the dough rises.
Finally, what are the pros and cons of the use of yeast in baking? For the pros, first, there are different types of yeast available depending on the amount of time available to the baker. Second, fast-action dried yeast allows fermentation to happen quickly. This is handy for busy home bakers. And third, dried yeast can be stored in a cupboard for up to 6 months.
For the cons, first, the baker must be careful when using yeast, as there are several steps necessary to ensure its success. Second, yeast is easily killed, meaning that fermentation will not take place, thus leading to the potential of wasted ingredients and time. And third, bakers must be careful when adapting recipes to their own taste, as too much sugar or salt will kill the yeast.
Therefore, the conclusion of this project is the hypothesis is accepted. The higher the percentage of the yeast, the bigger the size of dough after being left for an hour. That's all from us. Thank you and see you again.